In the quiet, seemingly serene town of Plainfield, Wisconsin, an unspeakable terror lurked beneath the surface. These words echo in the air, painting a picture of a peaceful rural community where life moved at a slower pace. Nestled in the heart of America's dairyland, Plainfield was the epitome of small-town charm. Its streets lined with quaint houses, its fields a patchwork of green and gold, and its people a close-knit community living in blissful tranquility. But amidst the idyllic scenery, the ordinary lives and the familiar humdrum, a sinister secret lay hidden, a secret that would soon taint the purity of this picturesque town and leave a macabre mark on its history. In this unsuspecting town lived a man who was as much a part of Plainfield as the land itself. Edward Gein, a seemingly innocuous figure, a local handyman who was often seen but rarely noticed. He was known to keep to himself, living a life of solitude in his dilapidated farmhouse on the outskirts of town. But behind the quiet exterior of this unremarkable man, there was a dark abyss of unimaginable horror. Gein, unbeknownst to the people of Plainfield, was a man tormented by perverse obsessions and twisted fantasies. His deviant mind, a breeding ground for the most unspeakable acts of violence and terror. The unsuspecting townsfolk of Plainfield went about their daily lives, oblivious to the chilling reality that lurked right under their noses. They were unaware of the grotesque secrets that lay hidden within the dusty corners of Gein's secluded farmhouse. Unaware of the impending doom that was to descend upon their tranquil town. As the autumn leaves began to fall, blanketing the town in a carpet of red and gold, a sense of foreboding hung in the air. The serene calm that once defined Plainfield was about to be shattered, its tranquility replaced by an oppressive atmosphere of dread and horror. Little did the townsfolk know, their peaceful existence was about to be shattered. Behind the doors of a dilapidated farmhouse, the world was about to uncover the workings of a deranged mind. In the heart of rural Wisconsin, police stumbled upon a sight that would send shivers down the spine of even the most hardened detective. This wasn't just a crime scene. It was a grotesque tableau of insanity, a chilling testament to one man's unholy obsession with the dead. Edward Gein's home was a veritable house of horrors. The interior was a labyrinth of chaos and filth. Amidst the squalor, investigators found a collection of ghastly trophies that defied belief. Human skulls served as soup bowls, furniture upholstered with human skin, masks made from the faces of the deceased. Each item a horrifying testament to Gein's macabre fascination with human anatomy. But the real core of Gein's madness lay not in his gruesome collection, but in the twisted love he harbored for his deceased mother, Augusta. A domineering and deeply religious woman, Augusta had cast a long dark shadow over Gein's life. Even in death her influence remained, driving Gein to commit unspeakable acts in a misguided attempt to keep her memory alive. After her death, Gein had turned the room she used to inhabit into a shrine, untouched and preserved, as if she might walk back through the door at any moment. This was the place where Gein's obsession took its darkest turn. Here, he would dress in the skin of his victims, a grotesque attempt to become his mother, to inhabit her skin and keep her with him always. As the world learned of Gein's crimes, a collective shudder swept across the nation. The House of Horrors had revealed its dark secrets, exposing the depths to which one man's mind had sunk. The name Edward Gein would forever be etched into the annals of true crime, a haunting reminder of the evil that can lurk in the most unexpected of places. The world recoiled in horror at the revelations spilling from the House of Horrors. As the authorities delved deeper, the true extent of Gein's monstrous actions came to light. It was the unearthing of a nightmare that seemed to have leapt straight from the pages of a horror novel. On that fateful day, in November of 1957, law enforcement officers entered Gein's farmhouse, not knowing the horrifying secrets it held. What they discovered was a scene that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. Human remains were found scattered around the property, relics of the lives Gein had taken. The arrest of Edward Gein sent shockwaves through the small town of Plainfield, Wisconsin. The local handyman and babysitter, known for his quiet and unassuming nature, was now charged with the most gruesome of crimes. The subsequent investigation led to the identification of two of his victims, Mary Hogan, a local tavern owner, and Bernice Wharton, a hardware store owner. Both women had been killed in a horrifying manner that sent shivers down the spine of anyone who heard the details. As the case unfolded, the true horror of Guy's actions became clear. This wasn't just about murder, it was about the desecration of the human body, the defilement of the sanctity of life. Gain had not only taken lives, he'd used the remains of his victims in unthinkable ways. Following his arrest, Gain underwent a psychological evaluation. The results painted a picture of a deeply disturbed individual. He admitted to the crimes, showing little remorse for his actions. His only explanation was that he'd been trying to create a suit of human skin so he could become his mother, a woman he'd loved and feared in equal measure. The sheer brutality of Guy's crimes sent shockwaves across the nation, forever etching his name into the annals of true crime. As we delve deeper into this case, we find ourselves confronted with the chilling reality that monsters do exist in our world, and sometimes they hide in plain sight. The trial of Edward Gein was a spectacle that held the nation in its grip. As the gavel sounded in the courtroom, the world watched, riveted and aghast. The man they'd come to know as the Plainfield Ghoul was finally facing justice. In the heart of the trial, the details of Guy's heinous acts were laid bare. The prosecution painted a vivid, chilling picture of a man whose actions had transcended the realm of the macabre. The defense, on the other hand, argued insanity, claiming that Guy was a victim of his own deranged mind. The public's reaction was a mix of horror and fascination. The gruesome nature of the crimes left them terrified, yet they were entranced by the unfolding spectacle. The trial was a grim reminder of the darkness that could lurk beneath the surface of the seemingly ordinary. After 10 days of harrowing testimonies and deliberations, the jury returned with the verdict. Guy was found guilty of first-degree murder, but by reason of insanity. He was committed to a mental institution where he would spend the rest of his days. In the aftermath, Plainfield sought to erase the scars of Guy's reign of terror. His house, dubbed the House of Horrors, was scheduled for auction. However, before the gavel could fall, the house mysteriously burned to the ground, a fiery end to a place that had been a symbol of unimaginable terror. The trial's conclusion did little to quell the fear and unease that had gripped the town. Guy's crimes had forever marred Plainfield, leaving a lasting imprint on the town's history. The once quiet, unassuming town was now synonymous with one of the most brutal killers in history. As the dust settled, the world was left to grapple with the grim reality of Edward Guy's monstrous acts. The trial concluded, leaving behind a town scarred and a nation horrified. Edward Guy's reign of terror may have ended, but its shadow continues to loom large. In the years following his gruesome deeds, Guy's life and crimes seeped into the undercurrent of popular culture, influencing a wave of horror films and literature. His chilling story served as the grisly inspiration for some of the most iconic characters in the genre. The character of Norman Bates, the disturbed motel owner in Alfred Hitchcock's classic Psycho, drew heavily from Guy's unhealthy attachment to his mother. Likewise, the character of Buffalo Bill in The Silence of the Lambs mimicked Guy's macabre fascination with human skin, and who could forget Leatherface, the chainsaw-wielding maniac in The Texas Chainsaw Massacre? His mask of human skin was a direct nod to Guy's grotesque trophies. But it wasn't just the world of fiction that was captivated by Guy's atrocities. True crime enthusiasts and psychologists alike continue to study his case, attempting to understand the mind of this monstrous man. His psychological profile, marked by a potent mix of necrophilia, grave robbing and matricide, continues to be a subject of intense scrutiny and fascination. His actions sparked widespread public interest in serial killers and their motivations, contributing to the rise of the true crime genre. His case was a catalyst, forcing society to confront the existence of such extreme evil in their midst. Yet, despite the continued interest in Guy's case, it is important to remember the true horror of his actions. Behind the movie, monsters and psychological analyses are the real victims of his crimes, whose lives were brutally cut short. In the annals of true crime, Edward Gein's name remains synonymous with a chilling brutality that continues to haunt to this day. His legacy serves as a grim reminder of the darkest corners of the human psyche, where monstrous deeds can take root and grow.